Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media, going to be listening to a special remote at MCRD Museum. This is brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things in the community. Our Spotlight on the Community Show is the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're in our 20th year, very proud of that, and we are so honored to have Brigadier General David Hyman, Commanding General of MCRD San Diego and Western Recruiting Region, with us. Good to see you, General.
Hey, good morning, Drew. Great to see you again, and glad to be here this morning, and once again, sharing some time with you to share some of our stories about the Marine Corps and what we do here.
They're great stories, 250th anniversary and so forth, and you did such a wonderful job when we were chatting with you and Rear Admiral David Boone on our Mission San Diego military show. But, for our audience, how long you've been at MCRD and the role you're in now?
Yeah, so thanks, Drew. I've been here now since May of 2025, and so from before here, I was in Quantico, Virginia, but have had the opportunity to be in the space. This is my second time now in the recruiting space and my second time in the space of making Marines. My previous duty assignments were as the commanding officer of Officer Candidate School in Quantico, Virginia, as well as a recruiting station commander in Marine Corps Recruiting Station, Baltimore, Maryland.
Right. Well, as everyone knows, MCRD makes Marines, to say the least, right, top of the flight here. But back on your background, come from a military family?
Yeah, so I grew up in a family, a bonus family, I guess one would say, of 5. And my dad was in the Air Force, so he's a retired airman. And so for me, my brother and I joined the Marine Corps out of high school. But growing up, we always thought that military service was a viable, respectable option. And so my brother joined first. I followed him a couple years later, and he gave me advice to, hey, join the Marine Corps Reserves. And if you really enjoy being a Marine after you go to school, then apply to come back come into the Marine Corps on active duty. So that's what I did. So I joined the Reserves for 4 years and then earned my commission through Officer Candidate School, and for the last 28 years, so a total of 32 years, I've been a Marine officer now.
That's fantastic. How about your brother? Is he still in the Marines?
No, I had the pleasure of retiring him a couple years ago.
Okay.
As a first sergeant. So he served 26 years.
What an honor.
He was an infantryman, multiple deployments, combat deployments. For me, I look up to him, always have, as my hero. So he told me or taught me what right looks like. And so for years, I tried to follow in his footsteps. So it was a real honor for me to retire him a couple years ago.
Right, and I had the honor of meeting your wonderful bride at a function. And how's she doing? And how is she enjoying San Diego?
Well, for her, it's welcome back. She was born in Monterey, California, but she was she grew up here in her middle school days. Her father is a retired U.S. Navy sailor. And so she also was from a family of service in the military. So she is enjoying all that San Diego community provides.
Yeah, it's hard not to. You're very proud of your daughter, who is on the tipping point of law school coming up, correct?
Well, that's the yes. So she's going to finish. She's going to graduate this year, this semester. And so she's on a final descent there from her undergrad, and so she has a couple applications in for law school. So we're hopeful. She's worked really hard, but we're just glad to have the opportunity to support her in whatever she wants to do.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see that next trajectory for her and what she'll be doing as well in this. So you are certainly involved in recruiting, to say the least. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I can tell you that. First and foremost, there's no shortage of great young men and women who want to serve this nation. And so for the Marine Corps recruiters out there across the nation, there's about 3,000 of them. Here in the Western Recruiting Region, we have about 1,500. And I would say there's a lot of long hours that the Marines put in, both officers and enlisted. But I am proud to say that they're making mission. And when I say making mission, they're finding quality, talented young men and women who believe they want to serve something bigger than themselves, have a purpose, and want to take on the challenge of earning the title of a United States Marine. So last year we did really well across both officer and enlisted. The Marine Corps made its mission, and then this year we're certainly projected to continue that winning tradition of making Marines, starting with recruiters and then but the next portion is here on Marine Corps Recruit Depot.
Exactly. How many folks will go through training in any year at MCRD?
So last year we trained about 15,700 Marines. Civilians, transformed them into Marines here. And for the Marine Corps, just almost 32,000. So between San Diego and Parris Island, we split it essentially 49 and 51% between the two of us. And then for the officers, we average about 1,700 officers that come in as well. And so here at San Diego, we only train the enlisted Marines, men and women. And again, this year we're projected just under 16,000 Marines to train here.
Right. We had chat about this, before. Has much changed in the world you're in your recruiting and recruit training from, the time that maybe you joined to now? Obviously, technology has changed. Has the requirements changed, or a lot of the stuff is a lot of the same?
Yeah, so I would say mostly the same, right? So the tried and true recipe, the alchemy, if you will, for making Marines hasn't changed, and that's a good thing. It allows us to maintain our legacy of what makes us strong, what makes us resilient as Marines. But some things have evolved in terms of some of our instruction. If we can get to some of our digital applications as far as the instructions in the classroom. But the large part when it comes to the transformation of what happens inside the human is what hasn't changed. Instilling of our core values and discipline here. And then if we get that right, we believe we'll continue to evolve to meet tomorrow's challenges, whatever they may be.
Yeah, there's no question about that. We're chatting with Brigadier General David Hyman. He's the commanding general of MCRD San Diego and Western Recruiting Region. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to a special remote of our Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of just doing great things. Or folks in San Diego, whether it's food insecurity, financial literacy, and the like. What are some of your interests? What do you love doing? Obviously, you love being a brigadier general, but what do you do for fun? I understand you're a top-notch tennis player.
That's the rumor.
Okay.
So my wife and I, we both enjoy athletics, being outdoors. I think just being a Marine makes staying physically fit easy because it's I would say a responsibility of being a Marine, physically fit always. And so my wife was a former ultra marathon runner. And so It gives us an opportunity to do something together, tennis. And so we enjoy the time that we get, whether it's on the weekends mainly, and sometimes during the weekdays and evenings playing tennis. So we enjoy that. And then we call ourselves an occasional foodie. So we do try to get out and about in the San Diego community and find new restaurants and experience local favorites and to avoid chain restaurants when we don't have to. But so for us in our free time, that's primarily what we wind up doing.
What's your best time in the marathon?
So mine, and I've run 2, and both times at the 18-mile mark, I cramped up.
Hit the wall?
Hit the wall. So both times just over 4 hours. And my wife was the one who motivated me on both those to finish at 4 when I think she was just literally getting warmed up by the time at 18-mile marker hit for me.
Yeah, that's quite an accomplishment. Did she run in college? Did she run competitively?
She didn't. She didn't run in college, but she participated in dance. So she taught dance after college, so she enjoyed that. And then she used to teach dance for the Marine Corps Community Services years ago to teach Marines, not dance, but teach Marine aerobics at the time, what it was called that, before functional fitness came along. And so she really enjoyed, standing in front of large formations and seeing Marines, seeing how tough she could make them and how hard she could push them.
Right. And how about your daughter? Your daughter athletic as well?
Yeah, so she learned to play tennis young, but then she transitioned to playing volleyball. So her preference has been, team sports, and so she's played volleyball for a couple of years now. She played the intramurals at school, but then I think by her junior year, she had given it up to really focus on her studies.
Right, exactly. An athletic family, to say the least. So you folks like tennis, you like good food. Who doesn't like good food? What has surprised you the most about your tour here in San Diego? Not necessarily with the Marines, just in the region itself.
Yeah, so what surprised me, I didn't realize the amount of military veterans and military-connected family members here. And so I knew that Camp Pendleton in this area, the Marine Corps has the largest footprint, if you will, for operating forces and supporting commands. But I just didn't realize within the community how many folks from, whether it's the Navy, the Army, all the services, the service brings us here on orders, but I think the community keeps us here. And so I just didn't realize that there were going to be that many people. They say you can't walk 5 feet in the town of San Diego without running into somebody with some connection to the military. So that was pretty heartwarming as well. Yeah,
you brought up something, General, that's important to a lot of us, and those are those military-connected students. And we put on some things working with our friends at the County Office of Education Purple Star events and that aspect of it. Just talk about, just for our audience, just how important it is to support those students who are connected to the military.
Yeah, so, one of the challenges we have to serve is the moves, right? Sometimes the unpredictability. And so for the service member uniform, doing hard things in hard places comes fairly easy as Marines. The real sacrifice comes with our families. So we ask them to serve with us, and oftentimes that means moving every couple of years, finding new friends, making new friends in new communities. And so that can be challenging to anyone, adults and children alike. And so we believe that when the families or the Marines, all service members relocate to a community and the community surrounds and supports the children of military service members, it really does soften the challenges when it comes to serving. And so making the children feel like, hey, this is normal, it's okay, I think helps us also establish or develop resilience in our military children. So that's why I think it's really important for the community to support.
Yeah, I think you and I might have chatted about this before, but it's worth saying again. There's a lot of support for you, and certainly the people that work under you and all of the military branches with organizations like the San Diego Military Advisory Council and our good friend, David Boone and so forth. But talk about how the community has embraced you, yourself, your family, and just the Marines in general.
Yeah, so we've had a couple events that the San Diego Military Advisory Council has sponsored, either directly and has helped us, develop relationships with other organizations. And so we had one just this past winter, right? So we called it the Build a Bike. We worked with the Rotary Club here in San Diego for that, and again, large credit goes to the SDMAC for that. And so what that allows the Marines and the families to know that, hey, the community supports them, the command supports them, and there's just a ton of folks within the community that believe in what we do and want to make their time as memorable and remarkable for them as we can, and perhaps maybe San Diego is a choice in the future as an option to when they transition as well. And speaking of transition, there's additional services that the SDMAC and other organizations, Hiring Our Heroes and so on and so forth, that go out of their way to help those young men and women if they're considering transitioning, whether here or in the future. But the services, the transition services are pretty amazing as well.
Yeah, but I want to talk about that in a few seconds here, but also how important it is to support that military spouse. And we know there's a lot that's been written about it, a lot have talked about it, but for that person who is active duty, whether they're here in San Diego County or they're abroad, knowing that the spouse is taken care of is really critical. Talk about that.
Yeah, thanks. And so we think the cornerstone of any military family is the spouse. And so the spouse is asked to serve as both parents on for many deployments, training exercises, and just long hours away. And so the spouses also want to continue to pursue their professional goals and career options. And so coming to the area or this area and moving around to different states oftentimes challenges the spouses where they may seem like they have to start over. And so working with organizations like SDMAC helps engage our local and state leaders to help with items like license reciprocity to go from one state to the next and make sure that the spouse doesn't have to start over. Because when a young man or woman joins the military and they wind up being married, again, it's a family commitment. And so whatever we can do to keep the family whole without having a family in a situation where they have to pick one or the other, the service member's career and or the spouse's career, we want to facilitate an environment where they both can pursue their professional ambitions.
Well, you bring up a real good point on this. And so, here are the spouses, whether they are coming into San Diego, leaving San Diego, that are professionals on their own in this area. I mean, what a great aspect for the local workforce. Bringing in people like that is so spot on. We're chatting again with the Brigadier General David Hyman. Is the commanding general of MCRD San Diego and Western Recruiting Region. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We're going to be right back after a short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Chatting with Brigadier General David Hyman, Commanding General of MCRD San Diego and Western Recruiting Region, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things for more than 6 decades. You talked about transition, and everyone's eventually, as my good friend David Boone says, is going to have to trade in that uniform for maybe some civilian clothes. In this aspect. Have you thought about your transition, whenever that's going to be?
Yeah, so, well, thanks for asking that question. It was a topic of debate in my family, or has been a topic of debate in my family for years now. And so, Drew, I'll tell you, I'm certainly not immune to some of the same challenges that our young Marines face. And so when it came time to be retirement eligible, it was certainly a good discussion my wife and I had. she's been a tremendous supporter of me, and so she kind of left it up to me and what we want to do, and so I've continued to serve past the 20-year mark, and so at 32. But I do think, hey, what do I do next? And to be honest with you, I haven't thought as much, in any real serious nature of it. It's just mainly, okay, I look forward to doing something else in the future. But right now, just being a Marine and serving the Marines as best I can to set conditions for them so that maybe somebody can come behind me and do or have the same kind of career path that I have. And so is there a way to set conditions for that? And so for me, when I have thoughts of what am I going to do, I realize that I have a responsibility today. And now I think about Marines, and I'll find the time. Our commandant will ensure that we all have time to properly prepare for transition. But for me, thinking in earnest is not today, sir.
Yeah, but Welles can always join the senior tennis tour, so he can play with McEnroe and those guys when you're ready to join that. But yeah, in all seriousness, getting back to the transition, we know there's a lot of wonderful groups in San Diego, 0800 and so forth, that work with the military, and they're still active and getting ready for that transition. You talk about how important it is for people when they are ready to make that, to be thinking about this, not necessarily the day they retire.
No, I think that's important. I think that's one of the challenges that service members face, right? One being to maintain the sense of purpose of why they joined in the first place and become a Marine, the high expectations that they have to maintain as Marines. But then also balancing the challenge of family. But then one also is in terms of spending time with family and investing time with family and investing time to be a Marine. But the other challenge, I think, is as they start to think also, we ask Marines to interweave their own personal identity with the identity of being a Marine Corps. But as they think about transitioning, and now they're back to kind of thinking what's next for them and their identity when they transition. And so that challenge doesn't go unnoticed, and I think that's one of the tensions that they have to manage. But anyway, for them to be able to think through, 12, 18 months ahead of time, without feeling guilty about thinking about what to do next, I think it's important, because just like anything else we do in the Marine Corps, when we spend the time to plan, we can build in contingencies and branch plans, so on and so forth. So, and then that way, those Marines who are thinking about transitioning can make sure that they take advantage of the many available resources, both through the military as well as the local community resources that are out there to help them discover what all the options that are available to them.
One of the things we've talked about before, General, if I've learned anything, it's the fact that those folks that are in the military, whether it's the Marines or the Navy or the Coast Guard, serve twice. You serve certainly to defend us on our soil and abroad, but you're also in the communities. You're also in the Little League teams. You're also working at the schools. Yeah, that's just in the fabric of what you folks do. Talk about how important that is.
Yeah, so I think that goes back to helping the families, or helping the Marines, the Marine families, or military families manage the tension to both be a family as a parent and serve. And so serving on active duty, day-to-day basis, in uniform, with your team at work is one thing. But when they go home, they still have a responsibility as a parent. And so for many of them, that gives them the opportunity to make sure that they're fulfilling their responsibilities as a parent. And then it's no surprise that many military moms and dads wind up coaching and assisting and helping, because that's what they do in uniform on a regular basis in terms of teaching and leading and coaching young service members. And so that, I believe, gives them a unique opportunity to invest in their loved one, their child, as well as the community, and is a really good example that, really good example of how you can serve both in uniform and serve in your community in a capacity that aligns your family interests as well.
Yeah, there's no question. General, obviously, this community should and does embrace what you folks do, certainly at MCRD, and of course all the bases around the county, whether it's Marines or the military, the Coast Guard, and we have SMADREG Army and Air Force as well. What can we do to continue to support the efforts that you're doing here at MCRD and on the military across the county.
No, thank you. I think the good work that you're doing behind the scenes, working with the San Diego Military Advisory Council, the different events that come up throughout the year. It's seasonal time, but recognizing that there's a tremendous amount of turnover every year with Marines coming and going, and their families into the community. So any events that are out there supporting what the normal rotation cycle of service members, usually in the summer, and probably, promoting and encouraging events and advertising what those events may be for those new military families that are coming to the community. And then working through organizations like SDMAC or MCCS and 0800 and those organizations that deliberately engage with the military bases and the service members to make sure they're aware of the options. So they don't have to serve by themselves here, even though they're in San Diego, maybe away from home, maybe they come from the East Coast, but knowing that there are folks who are looking out for their best interests so they can better serve the San Diego community, but better serve in the military. And then we do believe, as always, make Marines win our nation's battles, that we return quality citizens. So the example that these organizations provide for us is one of those things that many, when they transition from the service, also want to do to give back to the military.
That's good. Well, General, you always provide great content for our listeners, for which I'm very grateful. You're on a warp speed schedule, as always, and wishing you nothing but great success, maybe to your detriment. We're going to have you back on the show again to talk even about more great things that are going on. Brigadier General David Hyman, Commanding General of MCRD San Diego and Western Recruiting Region. I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media. Our show is brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.